Are you ready for video 2? Because this is a series on how to process your images to express your feelings. That's one of the hardest things to do. So let's dive in. Let's go. Now, if you haven't watched the first video, then you need to now go down below, check out the first video. You have some homework, so then this way you can really dive into this video and express yourself. Today I'm going to dive into a lot of stuff. I have grouping here on really being able to see the vision in Photoshop, because we're going into Photoshop. You're going to express yourself by making a stamp and really honing in on the image. I'm also going to talk to you about Lumenzia. That's something that I use to make things faster when you post-process. And I'm going to share with you how to use a smart filter. So this way you're in control of your vision, because that is something that we really need to go back and forth to. And then I'm going to show you how to add some color in a fill layer, which will really get you going. And then also I'm going to show you how to make a mask very easily with a subject that has a background that is pretty much flat, or what you want to do with your background to express the actual main subject, really honing in on that main subject and to really show what you're feeling. So you'll get some masking tips, and of course then we're going to add one texture today, and then you will have homework. So let's dive into the video now, and I'll give you the homework in a second. So once I do a major change like what we just did in the last video, I go ahead and take the layers and do a shift click, and then I set them in a group. See here at the bottom, you can group them. Just kind of cleans things up. Now this is something I'm going to show you right now. So now it's time to really get into what I want to say with this flower and to really express myself in post-processing. So I got the shots from the camera, merged them together, and now it's time to really play. For video purposes, I made a stamp. You can see that right here. Basically what a stamp is, it takes everything from this group and makes a copy of what you've done. But once you make a stamp like this and work on this layer, you will not be able to manipulate anything below the stamp. So just know that. In order to do this, if you'd like to do this, some processing you don't have to do this. Some post-processing you do need to make a stamp because it needs to see all of the pixels within the layer. But you'll understand that as we go forward. In order to make a stamp, you can click on this right here and click on the Alt and Option at the same time and go to Merge Visible, and boom, here is the stamp. So that's a way to do it. I use a program called Lumenzia, which I will put down below, and it helps me with masking and a bunch of fun things and makes life a lot faster when it comes to post-processing. So instead of doing all the click here and push this, all I have to do in basics is just click stamp and it's done for me easily and fast. What I like to do when it comes to post-processing, I have a vision in my mind, but I'm not always positive that it's going to work out. So a lot of times I like to go ahead and convert for smart filters, which will basically make the smart filter as a smart object. You can see this right here. Push OK. And over here to the right, this bottom area, there's this little area right here is basically saying that it's a smart object. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Filter, Camera Raw Filter. If you're used to Lightroom, it's basically the same thing as Lightroom. And this is where I'm going to really make my flower pop. So I want to add some vibrancy because I want to pull the yellow. See how the yellow right in here is coming through? So I'll pull that and I'll add a little bit of saturation, not too much because then I won't be able to print it. If you go too saturated, you can have some issues. So that looks pretty. I like that. Just playing with how you feel and how you want this image to feel. So do some post work on your image and express yourself. Sometimes when I do a lot of post work, I'll give myself a break, go do something, and then come back to it. And if I'm not liking it, then all I have to do is click here on the bottom where it says Camera Raw Filter. I can go back, double click on it, and it has all of my changes. And I may want to change things up. By giving my eyes a break, sometimes it's just good because it already has all the information that I've done. I don't have to replicate it again, but I may want to play with it a little bit more. Okay, so I turned down a little bit of the craziness. I was just sharing with you what you could do in post-processing, but I turned down a little bit of the vibrance and the saturation because I want to bring in this color over here a little bit more, and I'm going to add a layer down here below, and I really want that feeling of the pinkish color to it. In order to do that, it's pretty easy. You add a layer and you go to Edit, Fill, and then you're going to pick a color. See, instead of the foreground and background, you pick a color. And I'm really liking something vibrant, and I'll play with that just to bring out these colors a little bit more. And then I'm going to push OK. And now, of course, we don't even see the flower. I'm just going to take the opacity down so I can see what I'm doing for right now. And then I'm going to make a mask. Mask is everything. What I'm going to do is click on the gradient tool. Normally the gradient tool is here. I'm going to switch it to the middle. I want to change it to black. I want to mask out some of this color, but I went ahead and changed the opacity to 54 right now just so I could see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to kind of play with this. I want it to feel glowy, like a glow feel to it, because that's how I felt when I got the flowers and I saw them. I just felt like they were kind of like godly. So I'm making, I wanted to feel like the background is kind of like a halo, you know, an angel would have. Actually, I'm going to bring a little bit more opacity out so I could see the color. And then what I'm going to do is double click on the layer, and I'm going to do an inner glow. See how it even makes it more a glowy type feel? So here's the before and here's after. I want it to go down a little bit farther and then bring it down just a little bit more. There we go. That looks good. And then with my brush tool, I'm going to remove the color off the flower. And I actually want more of the color up at the top. So I'm going to push X on my keyboard. You can see by pushing X it changes the black to white. So whatever is in the front is what is going to happen. So I want the white up in front, and I'm going to add some more of the pink back into my image. See, here's flow right here. So I'll go ahead and work on that now. Yeah. Okay, I just finished it, and basically I just put my opacity, take it down a little bit so it's not so intense, and we'll get to the next step. I'm just going to let you guys know I'm totally laughing at myself. I'm going to tell you, people do bloopers at the end. I'm telling you right now, I just did a whole series of a video and it wasn't even on. I wasn't even taping my video. So I'm going to share with you what I just did right here. Oh my gosh, this is so hilarious. So basically, I'm going to share with you real quick what I did. Let's get this off. So what I did was I added, let's go to normal. I added this texture right here. And what I was saying was that if you want textures, and if you don't know how to add textures or play with them, then just go down below this video and there's a link to sign up for my email, and you will get free textures and you will get a video from me on how to use textures if you don't know how to do that. So just check it down below. Here is the texture that I use. I actually used this texture twice. This is mine. I went ahead and added it to the flower. And then what I was telling you is that you can figure out what your story is and just play I ended up using screen. That's the one I liked. But it would have been a pain to mask all of this out. So what I suggested was, let's get this off, is for you, let's take this off. It's really easy to make a mask when the background is totally opposite of your subject. This one's going to give me a little bit of problems, but that's okay. I want it to give me some problems so I can share with you how to fix it. This image does not have any blue at all. So if you know in the future you're going to add masks and colors and all kinds of stuff, shoot the background with blue, something totally different than what your subject is. So you get the subject here, and what I did was go to the quick selection tool and just start painting the white. So you could see that the marching ants is what has been selected, and up here this light area is too close to the white, so that's going to be a problem. But we'll go ahead and click down here and make a quick selection, and you can see that there's some problems here. I'll get up close. Push black, and here you can make this mask perfect. You want this mask perfect because you're going to use it a lot. Once you make this mask, you're really just going to keep copying what you've done. So take the time and get all this stuff perfect. But what I also wanted to let you know, what I was saying, is that when you double click on the mask, right here is the density. That's how intense the mask is. You can see that it's like a light color now. But what's nice also is that you could feather the mask. So that means how tight it is compared to making it a little soft. So bringing some of that texture onto it. So I like my background. I'm working with the background, and I think I want to just clean this up and see how it looks. So what I'm going to do is make a copy of my flowers. So it's Command J for copy. And then I'm going to bring it up here at the top. And now I'm basically starting fresh. You know, it's up to you how you do things, but I just want to see how this looks again. I'm kind of playing with it again. It's how you're expressing yourself. You can have so many different layers in this, dump them later. But I want to go ahead and copy this mask. So I'll do it Alt and Option and drag it up. You'll see 2 arrows. That means that it's copying the mask, and then you just drop it. And of course I don't want it all inside, so I'm going to click on it and then do Command I to reverse the actual mask. It's a little too intense, and so we're going to take the intensity down. So I'll play with that a little bit. Yes, that looks good. I like that. I want to add a little bit more punch to it. So let's add another layer to this and get some more color going. A little bit more texture, but soft texture. I don't want anything hard. It's not about being aggressive and going crazy. It's more about soft and feeling elegant and feeling of happiness. We started with this image, and now we're at this point of the process of expressing myself. Now my feeling for this image will get to this image, but when you're going through this with me, yours may be different. Maybe you want a little bit more of a harsh texture or a different color that's maybe really dark. So your personality and what you are shooting is totally different from what I'm shooting, but we can still do the steps together. So your homework is do the steps that we've done today. Grab some textures from me. If you don't have textures, start doing the layers. And if you have any questions, please ask them down below. I will reply and do the best I can to help you, because we're going to dive in the 3rd video in 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks to do the post-processing. If you really want to check out some more fun stuff about macro photography, check out more here. I always go the opposite. I'm Janice Sullivan from Sullivan J Photography, and I help you get up close and personal with your camera. Please always remember 1,000 words does make a difference. See you in 2 weeks. Cheers.